I traveled through time to witness the fall of the Roman Empire. I watched the Roman Empire die, and here's the part. No one tells you it didn't happen during one massive battle. It didn't happen in a single day. In fact, when history changed forever, most people were buying bread. Children were laughing. Merchants were arguing over prices. No one realized they were living through the final hours of one of history's greatest civilizations. I know, because I was there. I traveled back to the year 476 AD, expecting to witness an empire fighting for its life. Instead, I found something far more disturbing, an empire that had already given up. And the closer I got to its final moments, the more I realized Rome was not defeated by its enemies. It was defeated long before they arrived. The moment I stepped into Rome, something felt wrong. The city was still magnificent. Towering walls, marble temples, crowded streets. Everything looked exactly as I had imagined. But appearances can lie. The smiles weren't genuine. The confidence was gone. People spoke quietly whenever the emperor's name came up. Every conversation ended the same way. "We don't know what happens next." That sentence followed me everywhere, so I started asking questions. An old merchant told me taxes had become unbearable. Trade had nearly stopped. Many families were leaving the city. A former soldier laughed when I asked if Rome was still the strongest empire in the world. "That Rome is already gone," he said. I thought he was exaggerating. He wasn't. The next morning, I visited a military camp. This was supposed to be the heart of Roman power. Instead, I found exhausted soldiers wearing repaired armor and carrying weapons that had seen far too many battles. Then I noticed something unexpected. Many of them weren't Roman. They came from Germanic tribes. Some openly admitted they were fighting only because they were being paid. That changed everything. Rome had once been defended by citizens willing to die for their empire. Now it relied on men willing to leave if someone else offered more. For the first time, I understood just how fragile the empire had become. Then an officer showed me a map. The borders were under pressure everywhere. The Goths, the Vandals, the Burgundians, the Ostrogoths. Every frontier demanded soldiers. Every province demanded money. Rome had neither. The empire had become too large to protect and too weak to save itself. A few days later, I joined a military patrol heading north. What I saw along the road shocked me. Entire villages stood abandoned. Fields had been left untouched. Watchtowers overlooked empty land. No battle had destroyed these places. People had simply lost hope. The farther we traveled, the quieter everyone became. Then the scouts returned. The enemy is close. Within minutes, every soldier was in position, shields locked together, spears lowered. No speeches, no cheering, only silence. Then I saw them. Warriors appeared through the morning fog. They moved with confidence, not because they were stronger, because they knew Rome was weaker. The collision came without warning. Steel crashed against steel. Men shouted. Dust filled the air. For a moment the Roman line held. Their discipline was incredible. Years of training still made them one of the finest armies in the world. But discipline couldn't replace numbers. It couldn't replace supplies. It couldn't replace an empire already falling apart. Slowly the line began to bend, not because the soldiers lacked courage, because they had nothing left to give. Then the order came, retreat. The veterans obeyed immediately. There was no panic, only exhaustion. As we marched back toward Rome, nobody celebrated surviving. Everyone understood what had really happened. The frontier hadn't been defended. It had been delayed. Back in the capital, the atmosphere had completely changed. Rumors spread faster than official news. People whispered one name, Odoacer. His army was advancing. Nobody knew exactly where. Nobody knew exactly when he would arrive. But everyone knew he was coming. Inside the palace, politicians argued. Generals blamed one another. The emperor remained almost invisible. It felt less like a government and more like passengers arguing aboard a sinking ship. Then it happened. Odoacer reached Rome. I expected the greatest battle of the century. Instead, I witnessed one of history's quietest endings. There was no heroic last stand, no dramatic charge through the city gates, No emperor leading soldiers into battle. There was barely any resistance. Rome simply no longer had the strength to fight. Inside the imperial palace, I finally saw Romulus Augustulus, the last emperor. He was astonishingly young. He didn't look like the ruler of the greatest empire on earth. He looked like a boy carrying a burden far too heavy for anyone. And then, without a final speech, without a glorious farewell, without one last battle, he stepped down, just like that. After centuries of conquest, the Western Roman Empire no longer existed. I waited for chaos. It never came. Outside, the baker continued making bread. Merchants reopened their stalls. Children kept playing. The city didn't stop. Life simply moved on. That was the moment that haunted me the most. History had changed forever, and almost nobody noticed. Before returning home, I climbed one final hill overlooking Rome. The skyline was still breathtaking. The temples still stood. The aqueducts still carried water. The Colosseum still dominated the city. Nothing about the view suggested an empire had just fallen. Then I finally understood. Empires don't collapse when their walls fall. They collapse when their people stop believing those walls can protect them. Rome wasn't destroyed by one invasion, or one emperor, or one battle. It collapsed after decades of political corruption, economic decline, military dependence on foreign troops, internal division, weak leadership, endless crises. Each problem seemed manageable on its own. Together they became unstoppable. The greatest lesson I brought back from the year 476 wasn't about Rome. It was about every civilization that believes it is too powerful to fail. History rarely ends with an explosion. More often, it ends in silence. If you enjoyed traveling through history with me, subscribe to the channel and join me on the next journey, because there are many more moments in history that the textbooks describe, but very few people have truly experienced. I'll see you in the next adventure.